Alright, today we're working on an 01 Dodge Ram 2500. It's got a 24 valve Cummins in it. And we got an issue, it is leaking power steering fluid. So Dodge trucks with the Hydroboost units are known for this common problem. We're going to go ahead and show you how to repair it. So the first thing we're going to want to go ahead and do is step up into the truck and pump the brake pedal 5 times. You're going to want to do this with the vehicle off. This bleeds off the residual pressure in the Hydroboost itself. So now up under the hood on the driver's side, we're going to actually get to the Hydroboost unit. So it's right behind the master cylinder reservoir. So if we come up here, you'll see that there's really 2 main attachment bolts. There's this one right here, and then there's one located just on the other side, right down there. All right, when you're taking these bolts off, you need to get a wrench on the back side to go ahead and hold the stud as you back it out. Just back them on out. And then this master cylinder should just slide right off. Now if we come up under the dash itself, we're going to go ahead and locate the brake pedal right here and just follow the linkage up. You have the steering shaft running through right here, and then you'll see there's 4 bolts, 2 on each side, so there's 2 there. And then if we come over to here, 1 there and there, and we're going to use a 15mm deep well and take those off. Now the next thing we're going to do is go ahead and disconnect the brake pedal from the Hydroboost itself. So here you can see there's this one clip right here holding on the assembly. I'm just going to go ahead and use a pick and slightly pry up on the clip, and it will pop off. And we'll just go ahead and back that out there, and it'll just pop right off just like that. Then take note that there's a washer here, and just slide the brake assembly right on off the brake pedal. So now we're just going to go ahead and pull the master cylinder off the Hydroboost unit. Just put one hand there on the Hydroboost, one hand on the master cylinder, and just kind of walk it straight back. Now that we have the master cylinder disconnected from the Hydroboost itself, it's time to take off the line. So we're going to take off this line right here. Then we're going to use some pliers, slide the clip back and pull off this rubber line, and then we're going to take off this one last metal line. Now that we have everything disconnected, we'll just go ahead and grab the Hydroboost assembly. We've got it disconnected from on the firewall itself, so just go ahead and pull it straight out, and it should just pull out. You're going to go right up above the master cylinder. If we come up front, again, this is where it was actually leaking from. So if we look in here, we can kind of see a little bit of rust, a little bit of corrosion, and you can definitely see the power steering fluid. And now basically we're just using a 10mm ratchet and socket, and we're just going to go ahead and twist off all of these bolts around here. Now we're just going to go ahead and split the Hydroboost, taking special note of how everything comes apart. We're going to be working with this half over here, and so we're just going to go ahead and set that half off. Okay, and obviously you're going to have some power steering fluid coming out. So again, we just set that off to the side. Go ahead and pull this straight out and keep that in there. And the seal that we're dealing with that causes this leak is actually right in here. Now we're going to actually remove the seal that's causing the leak. Obviously we're replacing it, so not all that concerned about damaging it. But I just have a pick, just go in there, and it'll be a little snug. But you just go ahead and pull it out just like that. Now it's very important to note how this seal comes out. So if we take a look at it, you can see the lips are actually facing this way. If you do not install the seal the correct direction, you will leak. So again, the lips need to face this way. And now as you can see, we have the replacement seal over here on the right. I'm just going to go ahead and take some power steering fluid and go around the edges just to ensure that putting it in, it does have a little bit of lubrication on it. Now we'll just go ahead and slide the seal back in the groove. Again, taking note of the direction, making sure the lips are facing towards us. Now that we got the seal in there, again, just run your finger around, make sure everything feels secure. Again, the lips are facing towards us. Just go ahead and wipe down all the surfaces, make sure you're not introducing any foreign objects into the system. Now this spring back here has to go actually in through a hole, and so I've put it through the hole as you can see there, and then the trick I'm using, just using a pair of vice grips to hold it so I can easily put it back together as one unit. And now the last extremely critical piece is that when you put it back together, this groove right here needs to go actually right in here. So as you can see, this piston moves, and that needs to move on this. So that is the most critical piece, is making sure this goes here onto that. So then you're going to go ahead and just tighten all the bolts all the way around. Now that we have it all bolted back together, we're just going to go ahead and remove these vice grips to let that push rod go ahead and release. And now the last thing you want to do before you put it back together is just make sure all the linkages are working properly. Take the brake rod end of it and go ahead and just make sure that it's coming all the way through the master cylinder. So as you can see, the master cylinder push rod is coming through, so this is ready to be installed back in the vehicle. Now we're just going to go ahead and take the Hydroboost and set it right back up into the location where we got it out of. So go ahead and go right over the master cylinder, and then you're going to put the push rod right through the firewall and just push it right on up. Now that we have it pushed through the firewall, we're going to go ahead and come right back up into the truck again and replace the 4 nuts onto the back side of the Hydroboost. Alright, now that we got the 4 bolts back in, go ahead and grab the brake rod and put it right back onto the brake pedal itself. So now that we reconnected the lines here and here with the 15 and just used pliers to slide the rubber line back on, we've go ahead and taken the master cylinder, slid it back onto the Hydroboost, and we're just going to go ahead and bolt that back up. So now that we have the master cylinder bolted back up to the Hydroboost, we've topped off the power steering fluid down there. So now to bleed the system, we're going to go ahead and start the truck up. Turn the wheel all the way to the left, all the way to the right. Straighten it back out. Shut the vehicle off. Now pump the brake pedal 5 times. And you're just going to go ahead and repeat this 3 more times, and that's going to properly bleed the system. Now we're just going to go ahead and come up under here and make sure we don't have any leaks. Okay, now a very important part of this Hydroboost repair is to actually replace the brake switch. So if we take a look at the switch itself, it actually says do not reinstall. And so when you remove the Hydroboost, it actually puts the brake switch out of adjustment, which is going to cause your brake lights to be on all the time. To remove the connector, we just push this red tab out this way, and then there's a tab right here that you're going to go ahead and depress. And then just go ahead and pull, and the connector should come right out of the brake switch. Now we just went ahead and put the connector back on and slid the red tab right over. So now we're ready to put it in the vehicle. Now you do not have to remove the bracket like I did, but for the purpose of this video, I did remove it just so that you could get a better view. Basically what you do is you slide it in there, and then you just turn it about 20 degrees, and then you'll see it locks into those 2 tabs. You may need to actually push down the brake pedal as you're doing this, because obviously this bracket's going to be up in the truck with this likely making contact with the brake pedal. Alright, now that we have the brake switch back mounted up top, we have the bolts in, you can see the switch is actually making contact with the pedal. Now we actually have to activate the switch, and so on the back side of this, there's a little black lever, and the way you activate this is you just flip that lever, just like that. You turn it clockwise, and that activates the switch. Again, this is one-time use, so once that's flipped, you're done. Boost Auto Parts, aftermarket accessory solutions.